This is Ouija boards and midnight marks, where a spirit board conversation sparked our spiritual evolution. I'm Shale.
And I'm Cheyenne. And each week we explore a world where there is much more than meets the eye. So pour yourself a drink and join us as we cheers to a witchin' good time.
All right, I think we're ready.
Are we?
I don't know. This feels so weird knowing that we're like
we're
on
back.
Isn't that like what the like Gen Z TikToker things do now, where they're like,
I don't know. I'm fucking old, man. Old as shit.
But they don't do two hands. It's one hand.
It's one hand. Oh, like, yeah. Oh, which I guess I just did my nails.
So cute.
For all the people, okay, we are still existing in podcast land. So hello, podcast land.
Hello. And obviously we are talking about what we look like on video because we are on video this season.
We are on motherforking YouTube, y'all. We did it. We 6 seasons and a movie, and then we did it. We were
technically season 5, but we only put up like 5 episodes before I got tired of editing the videos.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a lot harder to edit a video when you can't look at our beautiful faces.
Yeah.
Right? There's like not other things to distract you with. So we're back. Season 6.
Holy
Happy
cow.
Samhain week.
Happy Samhain.
What are you drinking on this inaugural episode?
Do you see? Look, we can show people now.
I know, I'm so excited for the cups.
I don't have cute nails. I told Cheyenne earlier I'm going to start getting my nails done on a regular basis because self-care, and I want nails to look cute when I'm doing things like this ASMR-y type stuff. Yeah. But it's Samhain week, so we have a cozy drink. I have a adaptogenic chai.
Ooh, yum.
So it is brewed in Eleuthero and astragalus roots. And then it has just the delicious chai spices like cardamom, obviously, and anise and ginger and all
cinnamon.
It's probably the one place where I actually like ginger is in a chai blend.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which I know is
like girly.
I know it's so weird as an herbalist to be like, I don't like ginger. It feels like an abomination, but
That's a strong opinion about ginger. An abomination. Okay. I love it. I love those little candies, the gingins. Gingins, sponsor us.
Please.
Anybody.
We need sponsors.
Anybody sponsor us. This episode is brought to you by Thinning of the Veil Apothecary.
Which is a sponsor.
Which is true. It is. This whole season.
And this season, there's actually things to buy now.
Yeah.
So use OBMM as a code. I don't know how to do this articulately. Use OBMM at checkout to get 15% off your order.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Whatever that may be.
That's exactly how you did it. Perfect. Thank you. What's the website?
thinningoftheveilapothecary.com. You can find me on Instagram at Thinning of the Veil Apothecary. And I think that's it.
That's it. That's perfect. Homework done. Housekeeping over.
We did it.
Your drink sounds delightful.
Thank you.
I have one too.
It's so pretty. It looks very coffee-y.
It is. It's a pumpkin spice espresso martini.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah. Sounds like I worked really hard. Super didn't. Didn't even make the espresso myself. This is the Kettle One pre-mixed espresso martini that you can get in the big jug from Costco for the same price as the little jug.
So Costco being allowed to sell alcohol.
Oh, it's great. We mostly just get espresso martinis because Brandon and I like to make them when we watch our weekly episode of Below Deck Med. We make an espresso martini.
Wait, Below Deck what?
Med. It's the Mediterranean.
Yeah. I thought it was
Captain
like
Sandy.
Doctors.
No, Captain Sandy is the best.
I do want to watch Below Deck. I do want to watch Below Deck more because Noah Khan is a huge fan, and I'm a huge fan of Noah Khan. So
I love it. You should. Below Deck is great. It's our favorite.
We watch it
every Tuesday.
Have you heard Noah Khan talk about how he likes to watch Below Deck and then just eat sunflower seeds whole?
What? What? No, an espresso martini is a better thing to do than
I
eat
know, but
whole
he
sunflower
and he
seeds.
literally went to the hospital
Why?
because he got backed up so bad because of the whole entire sunflower
Okay,
seed
I'm
shells.
sorry.
But it didn't make him stop doing it. He's like, I will never stop doing this. And I'm like, more power to you, Noah.
Interesting. That it's got to be like a textural thing, probably, right?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, as
There's
much as I love
literally
that,
I can imagine myself biting a raw sunflower seed like at the ballpark, and that's a horrible feeling. And it like
and
gets in
like
your teeth. Ugh,
the shards that it would
just
create, like in your
horrific.
intestines.
Not a fan. Fan of Noah Khan, but not a fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, pumpkin spice espresso martini, and then it just says pumpkin spice sprinkles on top. So it's cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg, ginger.
Yum.
So
I'm so proud of us for both having cardamom in our
I
first drink of season
know.
6.
I was gonna make a tea as well. I was gonna do my harvest blend tea. Ooh, that wanted to be it.
That came out so aggressively.
I could tell. It just got stuck on my sticky hands because it's 111 degrees outside. So
And you're in a sweater,
I'm doing it for y'all because I love you so much.
committed to the autumn vibes.
Yes. Ooh. Ooh, okay. King of Cups.
Wait, finish your thought. What were you saying before the card jumped out?
Was I having one?
I think so.
Off to
You
a
said you
great
were talking
start.
about you're gonna make a tea and then change your mind.
Oh, wow. That wasn't as good of a story as I thought it was. I wanted to be a little more festive than my one tea. I didn't have anything to dress it up with, like to make, to
Fair.
just be like, this is a tea bag and I put it in the water and now there's tea here. At least you're making like an adaptogen concoction. You're
Well,
making
to
a
be fair,
potion.
I made the base and then have a tea bag for the actual chai part.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Yeah,
It's still multiple steps and ingredients.
right.
We
And I
did.
added cream. I forgot to say that.
Oh, nice. That helps.
It's basically an elixir.
Of life. This is great. I know you have been just desperate for us for the last 6 months. King of Cups, which is
Cute. Wait, what deck is this? You didn't say.
Pope Girls.
Oh, Pope Girls.
We're drawing from the Pope Girls today. I know you're probably thinking Cheyenne, but the topic of this episode should obviously be the Aliens deck. But because we are coming at you in a new format this season, which means you are getting us blessed into your little ear holes or your eye holes, congratulations, once a month instead of every week for 16 weeks, because it's not fun. It's not fun to do it that way. And we only want this space to be fun. So once a month, you are getting.
Just established that it's once a month, not once a week.
Sorry, old habits. Once a month, you are getting us here on the internet in video. We're going to work harder for you. We're going to research more. I'm going to drink slower.
Which we did. We did research for this episode.
Research for the first episode is impressive, honestly.
And speaking of research, I have heard through the grapevine that YouTube is the fastest growing platform for consumption of podcasts. So we better go fucking viral this year.
Yeah. And fam, that's going to
Help
be,
us out.
that's unfortunately on you guys. So
You all got to do work too.
You could go ahead and just share us with anybody in your life who you think needs a little chaos. We'd love
Which you always do. Who doesn't need chaos?
The magic and chaos. Speaking of, our King of Cups is the perfect card to welcome season 6.
Wait, is this the 6th year in the row that we've gotten cups on the first pull?
We do usually always get cups. Because ours runneth over.
Oh, stop.
God, gross already. Your intuition is rarely wrong. That's King of Cups. That's going to come in handy when we're talking about what we're talking about today. Trust your fucking gut and nobody else. Trust no one.
I love that we can see you on video now so people can see how aggressive you are with the cards. You're like,
these messages are serial, okay? Your reflection questions for the month ahead. Are my decisions coming from a place of compassion? What self-care rituals help me regulate my emotions? Hopefully it's our podcast. Affirmation for this month is what I don't change, I choose. There you go.
I
That's
like
our
that
vibes.
one.
Yeah.
That's a really good
Emotional
one.
stability, diplomacy. Our King of Cups is a very steadfast ruler with a lot of experience under her belt. Trust her. Trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Okay. Without further ado, I'm scared. What are we talking about?
I was just like immediately smoke cleansing because I actually don't want to talk about this
I don't
today.
want to talk about this either. So let's talk about this part, which is really funny because researching this, y'all, it's just, oh, it's yucky. I'm home alone. I'm looking outside as the sun is going down, and I live on the Sonoran Desert. So once it's dark out there, it is no longer my business what is happening out there. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to know because shit goes down for real. Scary.
Right. You're basically in like the Appalachian of the desert.
Yeah.
Or the desert version of the Appalachians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's magical.
Fine. I'm fine.
It's great. I love it here. I actually do. That's not nice. We're enjoying it. We're having a nice time. I'm looking forward to the end of October when I can drink this hot instead of cold.
It is the end of October.
No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is. Oh, man. Okay. What the fuck are we talking about today? I was going to try so hard to not do that in a single episode, and we just broke it already. Yep. It's fine. We're recording this on October 31st. Calm down.
We are. So we're talking about mimics today, which you probably already knew from the title. And normally any episode we have on here, I'm like really excited about the topic, but these things freak me the fuck out. Like,
so why do we want to do this one? Like, why? Because we just want other people to suffer with us because our algorithms are just too fucked now?
Well, to be fair, it is also a very interesting topic, and we hear over and over again from our lovely listeners that the really spooky topics are the ones that they really love. So we're like, let's hit them hard. Like, let's go balls to the walls, spooky on Samhain, and just like get it going right from the beginning. So,
okay. So what's a mimic?
So what is a mimic? I have my notes here because I did research. So a mimic is essentially like a type of spirit or entity that imitates voices, which is like most likely how people hear or experience them. But they can also imitate physical appearances of living people or animals, which I don't know what it is, but there's something about that that just gives you the heebie-jeebies right from the beginning. But I do have a theory on that a little bit later on. So mimics have also been referred to as calling ghosts, which I feel like is kind of cute.
Calling ghosts is a cuter name.
Yeah. Which is the case in I think this was actually coined by this author, Rosemary Ellen Guiley, I think is how you say her last name, in her book, The Encyclopedia of Ghosts and Spirits. And she defines them as ghosts of the dead or spirits who call out to the names of the living to attract their attention and lure them to their death.
It's the harbinger of death part that's probably the actual creepiest thing about it.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, otherwise, if they're just like, hey, what's up? You'd be like, we just got a friend in the house that just like checks in on us once in a while. But it's like the idea that they want nothing but the illest intent to harm, that, yeah, makes them a lot less cute.
Yeah.
So anyway, there are several ways in which mimics behave, including voice mimicking, physical mimicking, and then, interestingly enough, the consumption of energy. So there's the thought that mimics do what they do for the purpose of feeding off of fear or negative emotions, which is essentially their life force for existing.
So mimics are another form of energy vampire.
Right, exactly. But honestly, like there's something about an energy vampire that's like less terrifying for some reason.
1,000%. Because when I think of an energy, oh God, I've barely had any of this. I just don't know how to use my mouth. That sounded gross.
I'm gonna refrain, but I can't. That's what he said, or whatever.
Horrific. I didn't mean that either. Energy vampires are just gonna remind me of Colin. What's his last name? What's Colin's last name? Why can't I remember it?
I don't know.
Robinson. Colin
Robinson, thank you.
From What We Do in the Shadows. So like I'm always gonna imagine an energy vampire that way. Where I'm like,
which like Colin Robinson reminds me of like a vampire version of Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Much less intimidating.
Less scary. I can handle that one.
And I also just like always picture energy vampires as Colin Robinson, specifically when he's like trolling people constantly on Facebook. Like that is the most epic way to consume energy. And it's so smart. And like modern day energy vampires have to just be thriving.
Okay, but that's all rage posting is, right? Or like
Totally.
when people post the same thing just to incite people to argue and get people like, I'm sorry, y'all. Have you ever tried like cross stitching or something? There's
have you ever figured out a hobby?
It's like a lot of really fun things you could do that aren't just like triggering people on the internet. But we're gonna go ahead and trigger some people on the internet now. With some scary stuff.
Yeah, like, do you want to know where mimics come from?
Yes.
So mimics are actually pretty common paranormal phenomenon throughout history and folklore. So like think about the idea of spirits that lure you to your death in folklore. So things like sirens, right? So I think those could technically be considered a form of a mimic spirit. They don't necessarily mimic somebody that you know or are familiar with, but like they embody this angelic sound as a way of like manipulating you into doing what they want, right? It also can align with the idea of things like the banshee. So technically a harbinger of death doesn't lure you into your own death, but is like a forewarning of what is to come. And people get really freaked out, obviously, when they hear the banshee's wail.
Yeah, I don't need a warning. Like I'm good.
Right?
I'm good with that one.
Just let me just get hit by the bus and not realize it's coming.
Fine. You know? Just let it happen.
Right. There are also indications that mimics are demonic. So not just necessarily like a negative or malevolent spirit, but what's interesting is that this is actually referenced several times throughout the Bible. So for example, the book of Acts, which describes the story of Simon the sorcerer and how he basically sought out performing acts of God through mimicry. So there's like the element of not wanting to mimic the Holy Spirit, but then also things that take on that role of performing miracles or like doing these like outlandish things that demons are known to be able to do. Like that should be a red flag, essentially. And it goes on further to say that in like Acts 8:22 that the church cannot defeat the mimicking spirit without the supernatural gift of discerning of spirits. So basically speaking a lot to like having this awareness of what is actually occurring, which I think is really interesting when you think about people's experience with mimic spirits, because we'll get into this in a little bit, but like what you should and shouldn't do if you experience one. And like one of the things is that if you do hear a mimic and you know for sure that like you hear your husband downstairs, right? Calling for you and you're like, I know for a fact that that is not my husband. He's not home. He's at work or whatever, that you shouldn't like respond to them because that's what gives them the energy. So it's almost like there's this like forewarning, even in biblical terms, of you need to have this kind of awareness of what is or is not really happening, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And I feel like that's a can of worms that we could really open up and dive into.
Yeah.
But maybe for another episode. However, the most common folkloric association with mimics, as we understand them, is likely rooted in the concept of the Japanese yokai, which is a sort of umbrella term for several different types of spirits or creatures that often have shape-shifting or malevolent intent. So there's like river spirits, there's like a mischievous spirit that shapeshifts into a fox, called a kitsune, and like things like that. So it's not necessarily a single type of spirit, but more of like an umbrella term for all of these different types of beings.
Okay.
So this is the part where I start like really hating this. So it's interesting because anybody you talk to, whether they are like paranormal lovers or not, like just gets the heebie-jeebies around the concept of mimics. Like there's just something that's so off-putting about something being not what it is, but like taking on the presence of something familiar, right?
Yeah.
So I came across this kind of interesting narrative about that from the Luke Lore podcast. And there could be some association with like the uncanny valley concept. So if you're not familiar with the uncanny valley, it's like all over TikTok right now, similar to mimics. But the uncanny valley is like something that like essentially looks human but isn't. So there's a lot of talk around uncanny valley with like AI, right? Where there's these generated images that really look human, but there's something in the brain that tells us it's not
Ew,
quite
I didn't
human.
even think about AI as like a conduit.
Right? I know. um So this basically just kind of makes my skin crawl. But during the earliest times of human existence as Homo sapiens, there were also 9 different types of hominid type species that were evolving alongside of us that existed on the earth throughout time. And it's obviously likely that we had overlaps with these different types of species. And maybe not all 9 of them at the same time, but we obviously know that there was like Neanderthal and Homo sapien interactions, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason or another, Homo sapiens were obviously able to outcompete similar types of species to be the only ones that exist today. But what's interesting is that we think that this uncanny valley concept is rooted in like really ancient primal instinct, in that we have developed an instinct to fear or be afraid of or like see a red flag when we see beings that look similar to us but are just a little bit off. So there's like this belief that maybe for some reason, because of the fact that this triggers a sense of danger in us, that one of these other types of like hominid species may have actually been a predator to us at some form.
Interesting.
I know. Which makes it like creepier still that there's like something ancestral and primal within us that like to
Yeah.
this day doesn't like mimic type spirits or mimic type entities, because we can just tell that something's off and it goes way, way, way back.
Ooh, okay, so what are some of the ways that people can tell? Like outside of like a gut, like
Yes.
outside of our tarot card, trust your gut instinct. Like,
I
is it
hate
often
this.
that? Like I feel like a lot of the stories I read are often that. It's like I feel it in my gut, I just know.
Right.
Like it's an
Right.
intuitive evolutionary response,
So
like you
usually
were
there's
just
just,
saying.
yeah, there's something that's just a little bit off. And so there's great videos on TikTok if you want to go down this rabbit hole of like
Don't.
the difference between you smiling normally and like what a mimic would smile like. And they usually use their eyes a little bit bigger, or the
You
smile's
should we
just a
try to do
little
it?
bit too big. You do it. You'd probably do it way better than me.
I don't want to because I'm scared it'll just invite someone. I
It's fine.
can't.
You staged already.
Well, that's not true.
Oh, I did. You didn't.
I'm burning my fiery wall of protection incense. That is what I'm burning. And I do have my bells.
You
Can you
do.
hear these?
No,
Can you hear these?
no. Zoom's blocking it out.
Well, I'm going to have to change my Zoom audio settings next time. But the video, people can see my cute, tinkly little bells.
They
And
can.
I'm going to sound cleanse the shit out of this house when I'm done. And I also have some Happy Home Death Witch oil right next to me that is going to do that too.
Perfect.
Also, not gonna lie, I think I'm gonna do like urine soaked nails around the outside of my property after this episode because I'm
Like witch bottles? Yeah.
yeah, I'm
That's a great
fucking
idea.
scared, man.
You're pulling out the big guns.
It's gonna go pee on everything. This is my house. Nobody come in.
Marking your territory.
That's literally that's it though. Just saturate some nails.
Yeah.
And some fluid.
little cayenne pepper.
And then just hammer those bad boys in.
Yeah.
Go inside and turn on
Easy
Netflix.
peasy.
You're good to go.
So anyway, other ways that you can like tell that a mimic is a mimic, like say you get a physical appearance. Like it's pretty easy if it's like a sound you're hearing and obviously your husband's not home, then you're like, well, that's not right.
Yeah.
But a physical appearance is I've seen that people will notice that like their fingers are just a little bit too long or their legs are just a little bit too long. So there's these little
length.
like,
yeah, they're lengthy.
I know, like why? It gives me like Slender Man vibes,
like,
but
yeah, like tall, like in their real form can like loom over.
Yeah. I don't like it.
Fucking horrifying.
So anyway, it's just these little like indications that if you were to just not be paying close attention, right? Like they could probably lure you in pretty quickly. But if you just take that moment to just be like, is this person really who they are? Stop. You
Did I do okay? I wasn't looking at myself while I was doing it. I had to just focus on you. If you saw me on the internet, I just tried to do a mimic smile and maybe it worked.
This is why you should watch us on YouTube so you can be horrified along with us.
It's honestly probably more fun. We're really fun.
We are so fun.
You should.
This is fun. We're having a great
We're
time.
having a good time. The description of this episode is going to be like, we hated every second of recording this. You should listen to it.
Please. And tell your friends about it too.
Tell everyone. It is fucking creepy. I'm sorry for doing that to you.
It's okay. I forgive you.
I just had to do it not intentionally so that
I noticed that you were starting to do it first and I was like, is she going for it? I'm not sure. But then I was like, that would be really rude for me to say if you weren't doing it.
Be like, wow, you look
like
fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Just my face. Don't worry about it.
Anyway, there's some background on mimics for you. And then because I was like volunteering to just do the background research, I gave the wonderful gift to Cheyenne to actually look up terrifying stories. So you're welcome.
Yeah. Would you like a terrifying story?
Yes, please.
Okay, I can actually give you a personal one. The reason I have all this shit around me is because I do my spiritual hygiene, admittedly, has been a little lacking.
Oh no.
I mean, in the sense that I'm like using our monthly coven circles as like the catch-all cleanse day.
Fair.
And then I'm not really doing stuff in between then, which isn't necessarily true, but I need to batten down the ship a little bit. Because I do actually I think we have one. I think we have a mimic.
Ew.
This happens all the time. It often happens when like other so I actually don't know for sure. I don't know for sure if this is a mimic, and it's not going to be after I clean my house after this episode. But I do.
Your days are numbered, mimic.
I do fairly often like come into the room and be like, "What? Did you just call me?" And Brandon's like, "I literally am not talking, didn't even say anything." Sometimes he is like talking to the cat or something, right? Like I'll hear him talking to the animals.
Yeah.
But somebody does call my name occasionally. It does happen here. And I don't usually respond to them. I come find Brandon. Like my instinct is just to come find him because we live in a small condo and I'm not going to like shout at you. I'm going to come find you because it'll take me 10 seconds. But he's always like, nope, didn't say anything. And I'm like, cool, it's just the ghost. And he's like, you really got to stop saying shit like that. And I'm like, but it is. There's a light switch in our living room that gets a lot of activity. Specifically, like one of that, yeah, where it's like it feels very intentional, and then Brandon will be like, "What was that? Like, why is that happening?" I'm like, "It's literally just the ghost."
You should know this by now.
Yeah, I'm like, "It's the ghost." We haven't connected that deeply yet because I'm kind of scared of them. Like, we just have a mutual respect vibe kind of happening, but
fair.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I break a lot of the rules though, right? Like I'm looking at my altar and I'm in my bedroom. It's right there.
Yeah, yeah.
So you know.
But you gotta do what you gotta do in the spaces that are
I
available.
open doors. We know this about me. It's fine. I'm a portal opener.
I mean, our podcast is called Ouija Boards and Midnight Margs, and it's literally because we started off with a Ouija board because we were bored. So
clearly none of us have
do
learned.
As we say, not as we do, friends.
Literally every single time, except for protecting your shit. Go protect your shit. Okay, let's pull up some scary stories.
Do
I'm gonna
it.
put on my glasses in case any of you forgot that I'm a smart girl.
You are a smart girl. You're like, I think you're so cute with your glasses.
Thank you. I agree. I've never worn contacts because I'm scared of them. That's literally the reason.
Dude, I'm
Just
so glad that
I,
I don't have to wear
I
contacts
don't want
because
to touch my eye. I will eventually get LASIK surgery, but I also feel like I've worn glasses since the second grade. It's such a personality trait at this
right,
point.
yeah. And also like my eyes water just watching other people put in contacts. Like I
Yeah,
can't even
watching
put in
Brandon
eye
do it.
drops.
No,
People have to put eye drops in for me because I just panic.
not interested. Okay. So what's interesting? I looked up. I was really a picture just popped up on my phone when I set it down that way. I was
Like a
really
spooky
interested.
photo?
Yeah, like scary one,
Ew.
like of like a creepy, smiley, slender manny face. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Kind of like your pumpkin. Um,
Mimic.
mimic. I was really intrigued by doppelgangers, mimics,
Oh yeah.
doppelgangers, whatever, but
Mhm.
like doppelgangers specifically and doppelganger stories of people engaging with
Right.
doppelgangers. So that's what I'm going to give you today.
So what is a doppelganger in case people don't know?
Yeah, so doppelgangers, which is interesting because I didn't until we did this episode, I didn't realize that doppelgangers were a paranormal thing
Hmm.
as opposed to just like a silly coincidental phenomenon of the universe, right? Like,
Right.
oh, I saw someone who looks just like you. Oh, lol, that's funny. Like, there's a chef in Bozeman, Montana, who looks exactly like Brandon, and he was on an episode of Guy's Grocery Games, and I was watching it by myself. And I like took like so many videos of it and sent it to everybody, and I was like, "This is Brandon. Like, this is
Interesting.
exactly like who's this guy?" And I sent like screenshots of it to Brandon, and he was like, "I literally thought these were pictures of me," and I was like, "Wait, I've never been in this place. Like, why? Why do you have these pictures of me?"
Oh,
So
spooky.
creepy, right? So I was really intrigued by that because, well, so the death omen. So doppelgangers, I was reading in different folkloric traditions, doppelgangers can both be a death omen or like an injury, like an injury or like not necessarily a you death, but just like a bad omen in general. Like it might not be
Oh,
you
I see.
dying,
Like
but
you,
someone else might,
okay. Or like you
you
might break
know?
your leg.
Yeah, like that kind
Okay.
of vibe.
Got it.
But I was really, really intrigued as somebody, and I think I've talked about this before, but I experience a lot of deja vu.
Yeah. Hmm.
Like a lot of deja vu. And there's a lot of interesting connections about, well, okay, I think there are different categories of mimics. There are mimics who do have malintent, who are trying to feed off your energy, who are trying to, nourish themselves and nothing else.
Hmm.
But I also think there's a really interesting like parallel timeline hop thing that could potentially be part of it too. So like if you're seeing yourself,
Yeah. I was
is
just
it
thinking that. Like, are you seeing
yeah,
an alternate version of you somewhere?
yeah. I don't know.
Because there's that theory about we did that episode too about like alternative theories of ghosts where it's like you could just be peering into an alternate dimension and it's not somebody who actually like died in that moment.
Yeah, so here's the other creepy thing that I was reading about doppelgangers
Oh God.
is that um you know how I mean mirrors are just gross in general, right?
Right.
Um
It's like a standard.
mirrors are disgusting. Um if you haven't cleansed your mirrors or locked them in a while, you should do that as well.
I've actually been seeing a lot about that lately where I'm like, I need to lock my mirrors.
Yeah. There's one in our hallway that I locked that I think needs relocked because I think it's me. I think I'm hearing me, or I might be hearing like alternate universe Brandon, but I'm hearing somebody, and I keep giving
Ooh.
thumbs ups to this Zoom, and it's giving me the emoji, and it's driving me crazy.
Oh,
Uh,
I'm not seeing it on my end if it helps.
oh, that's really funny. Okay, good. So, this is a perfect segue to this one, which is called "Seeing Herself Out of the Corner of Her Eye."
Ew. Ew. I've never thought of like a mimic actually being like you yourself. Like
You,
it's usually like you see your spouse
it's
or
your
something.
mommy. Yeah, no.
Ew.
I'm bringing you ones that are creepier. Okay, so here we go. Late at night, obviously, I usually go to the bathroom multiple times. Sorry for your bladder, and I understand. But for the past 4 days, every time I go to leave, I can see myself still standing in the mirror from the corner of my eye. It terrifies me to the point where I almost run out without looking directly at the mirror because it's like the other me is watching me leave the bathroom. I never told my husband about it because I didn't want to acknowledge it out loud.
My
Early,
eyes are watering.
it's
We're only
gross.
one story in, and I'm like crying.
Yeah, I'm literally sweating, and it's not because of Arizona. Earlier today, I took a nap in our bed while he sat in the chair next to it watching TV. When I woke up, he told me that he had seen me sit up and crawl to the edge of the bed,
No.
stand up in front of our bedroom door from the corner of his eye. He thought it was weird that I got up like that because I'm in the last month of pregnancy and I can't really move quickly without it hurting. He
Oh my
tried
God, can you
talking.
imagine some like heavily pregnant woman just like,
Pregnant lady like crawling out of bed out of no. Ugh.
yeah, he's like, oh, it's weird how you woke up. And I'm like, oh, it's not the fact that she crawled across the floor that got your attention,
Yeah.
or
She's like,
okay.
whatever, just crab walk into the wall. He
He's
thought
like, the
it was
belly's
weird.
heavy, I get it.
Yeah, he thought, oh, when I woke up, he'd see me crawl backwards and stand up in front of our bedroom door from the corner of his eye. He thought it was weird that I got up like that because I'm in the last month of pregnancy. So he tried talking to me. When I didn't answer, he looked at the door like more fully to find me not there and still sleeping in bed. So like she hasn't actually moved in this story.
I also hate the fact that there was something in bed with them that
Mm-hmm.
crawled out of the bed. Ew.
Yeah. I got really creeped out and finally told him about what I've been seeing in the bathroom. He thought it was creepy, but didn't want to talk about it anymore because he thinks it will give whatever it is power and energy. I have no idea what it wants or why, but we have both seen it since.
I hate that. I hate that a lot.
So that's yucky. Uh, not fun. This one is called A Fake Mom Beckoning Her Daughter Away.
No. I feel like I don't know what's worse, like your spouse or like a parent.
It would either one of those I would rather see myself. Like I can go toe to toe. Please don't parallel universe me, but like I could go toe to toe with parallel universe me.
Yeah,
I know the fucked up shit that happens in this head,
that's fair. That is fair. You do have the advantage.
but Demon Brandon?
But there's like, like I
Ugh.
don't know. I almost feel like a mom would be worse because like there's
A
that
caretaker would
nurturing.
be worse.
Yeah, like there's that nurturing element to it that is terrifying.
No,
They're playing
anybody
on
that you love on that kind of level,
Yeah.
like children, no. Okay. So when I was 9, I stayed home sick from school. Sick is in quotes. I distinctly remember that I wasn't actually sick. I was avoiding school because of bullying. And I did that a lot around this age. I woke up from a
Only at
nap.
9? That's sad.
I know. People fucking suck.
Yeah, kids are rough, man.
Friendly reminder to just be nice to somebody today that you
Yeah.
don't know regularly. I woke up from a nap, turned on the TV in our living room, and scrolled through some channels when my mother, also in quotes, suddenly
God.
leaned over the breakfast bar and just stared at me without saying anything.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Fucking
not.
gross. I had been awake for a few minutes at this point, so I can't really blame sleep paralysis for whatever it is. But whatever this thing was, it was entirely identical to my actual mother. It sounds weird to describe, but it's as if the only difference was that this thing pretending to be my mom had never felt a single emotion in its life. It was empty and unsettling. It
Ugh.
beckoned me. Fucking gross. And I attempted to talk to her as I would my normal mother. She kept beckoning, refusing to answer, and that's when I sensed something horribly wrong. Naturally, I started screaming at this thing to answer me, and it just kept beckoning. I ran out of the room and into the yard yelling for help. My mother, the real one, had been working in the garden and came rushing over. I told her what I'd seen, and she soothed me with easy explanations that it must have just been a fever dream, but thankfully stayed by my side the rest of the afternoon as I was a nervous wreck. But she was faking being sick, so it wasn't a fever, and it wasn't NyQuil or anything creepy like that.
I just like can't imagine as a parent if your child is like, oh yeah, I saw another version of you and it leaned across the table and stared at me. Like there's so many like things that you can chalk up to childhood imagination, but I feel like I would be hard pressed to not believe my kid in that instance, and I would be horrified.
Honestly, especially thinking back on my own experiences as a kid having things like this, or
Yeah.
even just my relationship with Banana,
Yeah.
like
Right.
where I'm like, oh, that carriage house in Ludington that we lived in was haunted as fuck.
Yeah. Also, if you're just a first time listener, Banana is Cheyenne's little guardian dragon spirit who
He's my
has been with her since
dragon.
childhood.
He's my dragon and he's been here forever. He's a lot tougher than his name would suggest, or the way that I am talking about him now.
Banana.
Banana. He's so good. Okay. My favorite part about the website that I'm reading these from is that at the bottom of all of them, it has a like a upvote or a downvote that just says, "Is this creepy?"
Yes.
Every single one of them. Good job. You have succeeded. Okay. This one is called Younger Mother Bringing the Groceries, which is not a creepy title, so don't worry about it. There is a Ouija board in this one.
Oh God.
When I was about 16 or 17, I was really heavy into doing the Ouija board stuff. LOL, same.
Yeah, mood.
Other stuff happened, but the doppelgangers were definitely the worst. We got so lucky. Like, let's just
Dude, yeah, I think about that all the time.
disclaimer.
Because we knew nothing about protection.
We just got lucky that we were talking to a regular person. Like
Right.
a regular dead person.
Right.
Not like one of these creepy things.
Yeah, we should have absolutely been like demonically possessed, to be honest.
Yeah.
Not that I wish that upon us, but still.
Me either. Honestly, I'll give that one anything like that like is a time I should have died or should have been
Alternate
possessed or
Cheyenne.
something. I'm like, that was we'll just give Banana credit for all of it. It was
Yeah.
we're fine. Okay, so other stuff happened, but the doppelgangers were definitely the worst. The first one was my mom. I heard her come in, and my best friend was with me. My friend and I walked down to greet her. She looked like a younger version of this is also often. They look like
Right.
weirdly smooth,
Yeah.
like poreless. There's something unnatural
Right.
about it. Whether it's too old or too young, it's just there's something off.
They just can't get the ratios right.
Yeah,
You know?
like plasticky. AI is
Yeah.
a good way to describe it, honestly.
Totally.
She looks like a younger version of my mom and was carrying groceries, so I tried calling out to her, but she didn't respond and walked into my brother's room. I got a sick feeling in the pit of my stomach. I called out to her and she didn't respond still, so I followed her into the room. Sorry, I lost my spot. She was not there when she walked into the room. Her mom was gone. So when I walked back down, my real mom was coming inside and didn't have a clue what I was talking about. She was also wearing a different outfit.
The hell?
The next one was my brother. My mom was talking to him on the phone and he said he was on his way. As soon as he hung up, he walked in the door. He talked to us for a little. Mom wanted him to take out the garbage or something, and then he walked to the bathroom. He'd been in the bathroom for about 15 minutes, and I got that sick feeling in my stomach again. I asked if he had fallen in or something. Then my real brother walked in the front door and was freaked out. Like, what?
So she had, or
Both times,
they.
it says both times they had darker eyes, and it felt sort of like a dream, but I was definitely awake and other people were with me.
So wait, was this like two separate days?
2 separate occasions.
Okay, because I was like, if it's two in the same day, like that's a lot.
Yeah, separate occasions. Not well written. Sorry, user XYZ.
I'm sorry that they had to experience that on multiple accounts. Like, no, thank you.
Doppelgangers that refuse to speak. This is an interesting one about like the doppelganger versus mimic is often if it's your doppelganger, they won't talk to you. Like it's
Well, isn't there the belief too that if you actually experience your doppelganger in this life, like isn't that like a harbinger of death too?
yeah, like your timeline shifting, like your consciousness,
Yeah.
your life force is fleeting, essentially.
Right.
So you're starting to bleed into your timelines.
I have never heard it described that way, and I like that much less.
Yeah. It's really gross.
It's super gross.
Both times that my family experienced doppelgangers, they refused to respond when spoken to. The first was my sister's doppelganger, who my brother told to go downstairs for lunch. She didn't answer. When my brother walked downstairs, he saw my actual sister standing at the counter wearing a different shirt. She couldn't have passed my brother so quickly because the staircase leads directly to our dining area. The second was my own doppelganger, who stood at my door at 12 p.m. and stared at my sister, who was using the computer. I
Ew.
wasn't actually home until 4 p.m. after school. My sister didn't know that until she asked me why I was staring at her earlier, creepy with no emotion.
Like your sisters just chill with that for hours and like didn't think that there was
And it was
something
just
weird
like,
about
why are you
it.
here? Like, why are you being weird? That's
I don't
like
know.
sibling energy, though, to
Yeah, I was
just be
gonna say
like,
I
what the
could
fuck are you
see.
doing? Like, go
Yeah,
away.
and then you just like block them out. I could see that
Literally.
happening.
A lot of them are just what's crazy about this is that in theory, a lot of these stories on their surface level shouldn't be that creepy, right? Like
Right.
they're not like traditionally scary in the way that they are, but it's so unsettling
Right.
to not have an answer to it.
That's why I loved like the uncanny valley connection to this because it's like there's not really anything inherently that should make us fear them, but we just do. And it's like they know that and then they feed off of it.
Yeah. A disappearing husband. My wife said she saw me standing in the kitchen doing something while I was actually at work at the time. She initially thought I had come home early and was worried, and then the figure of me apparently vanished, and there was like no other trace, no other occurrences before or since.
That's like best case scenario.
That's a lot
That's
of them too, though, where it's like you see them and then you go to focus, like you
right.
go to
And
look closer and it's gone.
it also makes me think about the other kind of theory of ghosts too, where it's like it's just imprinted energy, right? And like maybe in that situation with her husband disappearing, it wasn't actually like a true mimic, but more so like she's seeing like a past imprint of his energy in the kitchen doing something like he always does, and then just like disappeared just as fast as she
It's
saw
just
it, you know?
gone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, this one says meeting a girl who already knows who you are.
Oh. Willie. Or not Willie. That's Telly.
Telluride. Willie's being a perfect angel sleeping next to me. Telluride likes to um I have
Scratch
I have
your
magazines
books.
on the bottom corner of this bookshelf that if you're
Mm.
listening to this you can't see, but she loves shredding paper. It's her like true passion in life. And if
She's so
she
back for
see
him.
it's happening, if she wants attention, she'll just rip the covers off of these old Martha Stewarts. And I'm like,
Why are
girl,
cats like that? Like cats are such a menace when they
she's
want
not
attention.
publishing anymore. You cannot rip my Martha Stewarts. I cannot replace these. How am I
Like
supposed to get
cats
a
just love to
turkey
just
pie recipe from
fuck shit
1995?
up when they want your attention.
Mm-hmm. And it's always the bookshelf. I'm like, dude, can you
It's
just
because they know, like they know the things that you don't want them to do, and then they're
they know
like,
it's
I know how
important.
I'll
They
get
know
their
it
attention.
matters.
Yeah.
If you rip the pages off of this, I cannot read it. So I only have to pay attention to you. Anyway, this one's gross. Meeting a girl who already knows who you are. So I'd just gotten real baked at my friend's apartment, walking home in broad daylight.
Nice.
Great way to start an afternoon. Down the sidewalk ahead of me, I see two young girls, instantly recognizable as Mormon missionaries. They get maybe 15 feet away from me, and one of them waves and calls me by name.
Whoa.
We meet, and one of the girls gives a friendly hello and acts like she knows me. Bear in mind, I'm pretty stoned, so I'm trying to figure out if I
Oh
know her
no.
from somewhere, but she catches on that I don't recognize her and starts to act offended. She reminds me that we had some big, long conversation on her friend's porch on such and such street just a few days ago.
Oh my gosh.
Now, at this point in my life, I was smoking a lot of weed, but I had never drank or did anything else, and going to random parties and charming pretty young blonde Mormon girls was completely off of the menu.
Okay, I have to quick side note. Like I can't imagine because whenever I consume weed, I get like super paranoid, right? It doesn't matter what kind. And I just can't imagine trying to like have a conversation with missionaries in a coherent manner on top of that.
I'm really sad that that's your weed experience. One of my favorite things to do is take an edible and take an Uber to Trader Joe's, which is probably not that safe, but it makes me happy and whatever. I should have died 1,000 times.
It's better than
I'll
you
write a book
driving
about
Trader
it one day.
Joe's, so
yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not irresponsible with other people, just myself.
Right. Do as we say, not as we do.
Exactly. I was already half in love from the moment she smiled at me, so I don't think I would have forgotten this long, engrossing conversation we apparently had. Yeah, because she's beautiful and she's trying to get you to come to the good side with where Jesus is.
Very like siren-y, yeah.
Yeah, she's like bewitching you with her good girl ways. I love it. Now, her expression, I remember as I stumble through this conversation. At first, she thought I was joking. Then she thought I was being mean. Then she kind of looked as confused as I did. So I suggested, maybe it was my brother you met. She said, not unless he's your identical twin. My brother and I look like brothers, but you'd never confuse us for each other. So we awkwardly, confusedly parted ways. I don't remember the other girl ever saying anything. But then it dawns on my dumb, stoned brain. She knew my name. I turned around and I yell, wait, how did you know my name? But they don't hear me and I couldn't catch up to them.
Weird.
Like they like tried to follow them. And they couldn't catch up.
I'm trying to think back because like we obviously grew up in a part of the country that has a lot of LDS presence, but like I don't remember ever knowing if they like did research on who lives in the neighborhood or anything like that before.
Nobody ever knew my name coming to
Yeah, I don't think so either.
Like ever.
Spooky.
Okay, I have a couple. Oh, this is one that is like I was screenshotting some Reddit. Oh, there are people walking outside my window. And the adrenaline comes down.
You should do like the mimic smile at them.
I should.
They'll be like,
our windows I think are pretty tinted from inside because I work like pantsless in here and there are dudes golfing out here all the time.
Yeah. And you should do the mimic smile at them. And then next thing we'll know would be like a Reddit post where it's like, we were walking by this girl.
Okay. I've literally always thought it would be funny to troll the golfers out here by doing something like that though. Like by putting a weird sign in my window or something.
You should just walk around in like Victorian garb all the time.
It's fucking creepy, like blood coming out of my eye.
Yeah. You could become a local legend. That would be so cool.
I would love to become a local
legend. You'll be like the local golf woman in white.
Becoming a local legend is literally the only reason to be alive.
It is your soul's purpose in
this life. Why I am here. Okay. What is this one? Okay. This one's fucking gross because it's a kid. Why is it always kids? This will be the last one.
All right. And on a strong note.
Around 15 years ago, when both of my kids were toddlers, because
oh, they're toddlers too.
Kiddos are closer to the liminal than we are, y'all.
They are.
Like, if you want to have these conversations when they're little and reading recollections of kids is so interesting to me.
So fascinating.
Especially when you'll read these ones of people like driving by a house or be like, oh, I lived there when I was an old man. And it's like little 3-year-old girl or whatever. And her mom's like, what?
Yeah.
Like I lived there when I was an old man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and I have memories of all of it. Okay.
Or the ones where they can actually like verify facts. Like that one kid that like knew the type of airplanes that he flew in World War II. And like they actually found one of the living friends of the guy from World War II. And he was able to like validate everything that the kid was saying. Wild.
Have you seen the little boy who's like obsessed with tractors?
Yes. Oh my God. He's got like the perfect little like old man country accent.
He's an old ass man.
He is. He's literally an old man.
He is like in his 80s easily. And he's like 3.5 feet tall.
Up on the tractors.
Oh my gosh. The posturing is so good. Yeah. His language is so good.
We call him the Benjamin Button tractor kid when he comes up.
That's so cute.
Yeah. I love him.
I'm obsessed with him. Okay. Both of my kids were toddlers. I was putting them to bed one night, and my son was adamant that he wear his favorite red race car pajamas. I happily obliged, helped him change into them, and tucked him into bed. He's in his red race car jammies. Nobody forget that. Then I sat down at my kitchen table with a friend who had come over to chat and catch up. The way that my apartment was set up, you could see my kid's bedroom doorway from the kitchen table. My friend and I were talking for a while when we were suddenly interrupted by the sound of my son screaming.
Oh, God.
We both turned and looked at the bedroom doorway and saw my son standing there loudly crying, shrieking, but wearing green pajamas with airplanes on them. Not red race cars, green airplanes. Still pajamas he owns, not the pajamas she put him in.
Oh, so she actually did have those pajamas?
She has those pajamas.
I was just like, wow, the mimic got the ratio really wrong, but wow.
Yeah. Everything inside me was screaming that this was wrong. The hair on the back of my neck stood on end, and a cold shiver shot down my spine. My friend and I wordlessly stared at each other for a second. We both knew that my son couldn't change his pajamas by himself yet. We looked back at the doorway, and he was gone. We went into his room and found him tucked into bed, still sleeping peacefully in his red race car pajamas.
Oh my gosh.
My friend asked me if I saw him standing there in green pajamas instead, and I confirmed that I had. My friend freaked out and left.
As she should.
I mean, fair, but also, I guess it depends on what kind of circles you're in. I have enough paranormal weirdos that I would be like, absolutely not. You were sleeping on this floor and you were dealing with this demon with me. Like, you were not
like, our friends probably conjured them, so.
Yeah, like, what does it matter with you? You can't bring this mess into my house and leave. Jeremy.
The audacity.
I just like throwing those in there, just for funsies.
I always think about Jeremy's creepy ass bathroom that he hasn't lived in for like 3 years, but I'm still terrified of it.
That bathroom is gross. But also, we'll just shamelessly plug Jeremy for a minute from When Walls Can Talk.
Who's got a piece of chai in my mouth.
Check out the new season of Ghost Hunty TV, also on YouTube, to see. He sent us a video of a howling demon that's in episodes that will be out by this point. But like a video of you here is fucking gross. Okay?
It's gnarly.
Disgusting. Anyway, my friend left. I slept on my kid's bedroom floor that night to make sure nothing happened to them. I would sleep in the bed with them. I would not be on the floor, but that's fine. I'm scared of the floor. The floor is where the under the bed monsters. Seriously, you need to be in the bed, Mom. Come on. Too many variables.
Okay, quick. Sorry, this is a quick side tangent, and we'll actually finish the story. But I saw somebody on TikTok the other day. You know that story? I love you this much.
Yes.
Or like, what is it?
I love you. Yeah, like the
I love you for always or whatever. Like
you forever like my baby you'll be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That one that's like so wholesome. Well, somebody just like made a video about like how creepy it actually is to like see your mom crawling into your bedroom on the floor. And I was like, dang it, you just ruined that book for like thousands of people.
Just everyone.
But anyway, that made me think about it when the mom was on the floor.
Literally.
Continue on.
Oh, it's not. It just says my friend and I still talk about it to it this day. It's one of the craziest things that's ever happened to me, and my son doesn't remember any of it, but he loves hearing how his doppelganger scared the crap out of us.
Oh my gosh. That's like so validating if somebody else saw it at the same time.
Those are the ones that are always really interesting to me.
Yeah.
The doubles. Or I don't know, man, mirrors, there's some, so I think I've talked about this before, but one of my favorite childhood traumas is that I had a daycare provider those people are walking again. It is dark and you are going into the desert now, you guys.
Whatever's happening outside the window is not your business, Cheyenne, when it's getting dark.
I need to close the blinds, but I'm scared that it'll make me even blurrier than I already am for you. Every time I walk, if I forget to close, I'm not even kidding. This is how fucking traumatized I am from this moment as a child, though, okay? I had a daycare provider when I was in kindergarten do Bloody Mary with us, okay?
Oh,
Bloody
brutal.
fucking Mary. All of us.
Was your babysitter like a teenager?
No.
Oh, God.
I've told my mom a lot of, this is also the lady who like wouldn't let anybody use her nice bathroom upstairs, which meant none of the kids could use a fucking toilet.
What did you use?
I pissed myself and had to sit in the basement. She made me stay in the basement. Like the playroom. God. And was like
this is like actual trauma.
Yeah. Oh no. She was an evil person.
What
And I
the
was just
fuck?
a kindergartner who didn't know how to like tell my mom what was happening. Literally. Anyway,
Oh, I'm
mom,
so
don't
sorry you
listen
dealt
to
with
my
that.
mom's not going to listen to this episode. This shit'll scare her way too much. She would not last this far. It's fine. Nobody worry about it. But Bloody Mary, we did Bloody Mary with her and like 6 of us, like little fucking kindergartners, okay?
Yeah.
In this Utah home. And then we like had to play in the basement. Just it was fucked up on every level. Every single level. I
Was
would
this
get
like
there in
an
the morning.
daycare kind of a
An
thing?
in-home daycare. My mom would
Was she
drop me
playing
off at
Bloody
like
Mary with you guys?
yes. My
Oh
mom
my
would drop me
God.
off at 5:30 in the morning. Shale, I have the most vivid memories of this. She would turn on the TV at 5:30 in the morning, whatever fucking channel it was, she'd leave it on and she'd go back to bed.
Oh my
And I would
God.
just sit there on the couch and watch whatever channel was on the TV.
Brutal.
Fine. It's fine. We're in therapy. We're working through stuff. My mom knows now we've had this conversation. It's not my mom's fault.
Right, yeah, obviously.
And I was a 5-year-old, so I didn't know any better.
Right.
I'm
Well,
sure she
hopefully
had,
that person no longer has a license
you
and
know, it was the 90s. It's not like you're
right.
looking her up on Yelp. It's
Right, right. Gotta do what you gotta do, yeah.
fine. But I am to the like mirror. I close my mirrors constantly. I am terrified of mirrors. And when we moved into this condo, we rent it from a friend of ours and he left it semi-furnished for us. We like sold half of our stuff and kept half of our stuff because I was like, I'm not getting rid of my cute shit.
Right.
Anyway, it's very nice of him to let us live here. We live here. But he had mirrors everywhere. He was like, I'm just gonna leave the art and stuff so you can decide when you get here. And I was like, I don't want your mirrors. None of them. Take them all down before I get there. He didn't, right? He's like, you can decide and see. I'm like, no, you don't understand.
You listen to me when I say.
The only mirrors that are allowed in my house are the ones that are in my bathroom that are
Yeah.
supposed to be there in the bathroom. And that's it.
Right.
And there's one hallway one that I close obsessively because I see myself all the time. Yeah, it's gross. Look behind you. You should look behind you.
Like, don't do that to me.
I'm so sorry. But it's just that feeling of like I close my eyes and I've seen some scary shit. I play with this shit all the time. I like invite it
Sure.
into my home and my life. Right? I'm like, yeah, let's do this. Let's play this game.
Yeah.
Spirit and to be fair, I don't play it that much anymore. I fucks with spirits who I know. And
Right.
that's pretty much it cuz
Right.
we're almost 32. Like life's too short. Life's too short
Gotta
to
test
spend
the boundaries a
all of
little.
it scared. But it's just I don't the mirror ones or like a black TV, you know?
Yeah.
Like give me the screensaver on the TV instead of a black TV because
I totally agree.
I'm gonna see something in it.
Or like the reflection in a microwave.
Oh,
I hate that too.
but I close my eyes and if I forget this window, I'm just gonna fucking show you. My bed's not made because my cat barfed on the comforter last night. So there's the window. I'm terrified that that's fucking dark right now, you guys. I'm so scared that that window is open. But I will come in here. I have it like half up a lot of the times because of the way the sun comes in here. And if I come in here at night and I have forgotten to close it before sunset, I will close my eyes and blind feel my way to the window and pull it up because I'm convinced I'm going to see that creepy Ring doorbell smile girl.
Dude, yeah.
Ugh.
That's understandable.
Can't do it. If you want to scare the shit out of yourself, just look up mimic Ring doorbell videos.
Honestly, yeah. All of any mimic video on TikTok is horrifying. And I know like 90% of them are staged, but they do a very good job.
They're
of
still fucking
being
scary.
Scary, yeah.
You're still a gross person.
Speaking of, did you watch the one that I sent you about the medium who
Yes.
like shows the 2 different versions? Ugh, that
Yeah.
one's creepy.
Yeah, that one was gross. Shale did send me a really funny one of a British guy though,
Yeah, that one was good.
who was arguing with who was like, fuck you, fuck you. They were trading fuck yous.
Pay
back
the
and forth.
rent if you're gonna live
It
here.
was like, yeah, if you're here. Which like, and that's my thing. Like, obvious who the fuck was that? This is not okay. I need to make sure my husband's on his way home.
We're manifesting.
I'm gonna close this window, y'all. I can't finish this episode with this window open. I can't do it.
No, I don't like the fact that there's a mirror behind me either.
I'm so sorry.
So thank you for that.
If there's anything I'm really good at, it's irrationally scaring the shit out of myself. With no evidence.
I feel like if you're interested in the paranormal of any capacity, there's like a healthy dose of that happens on a regular basis.
So I want to thank you for this episode, actually, Shale, because
you're welcome. We didn't hate it all that much, I guess.
It's been so like I found this happens, right? I found this van life girl on YouTube who I just became obsessed with, right? And for anybody who doesn't know, that was about to be my life. And then a job opportunity opened up in Colorado, and I was like, JK, I'm going to go ahead and do the responsible thing and not live out of my car for my life. But there's a little part of my brain that's always kind of wondered what if, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so I've been following this girl and was like absolutely obsessed with her videos. And then the algorithm popped one up that was like scariest night in the van so far.
Oh gosh.
And I was like, yeah, okay. Let's do it. And it was a nice validation that I'm just a fucking weenie now. And I think I'm too engaged.
That was not where I thought this was going.
I'm too engaged in this paranormal stuff. It was a guy, right? It was a guy in a parking lot trying to break into her car. Like it was objectively terrifying. It was gross.
Yeah, that's actually awful.
And she had to like call people, like it was scary. Her life was in danger, as is any woman who is like solo traveling or living out of their vehicle. But it was one of those moments that I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I like my little
I know. It's so frustrating sometimes to be a woman in this society because I'm like, I want to go solo camping so bad, but like I'm scared to go. And it's not
I used to solo camp by a bear so much.
Yeah. And I feel like I would feel better about it in a place like back home in Idaho, but like here in Colorado where there's so many people, like I just nah.
Yeah. And so the people are already scary enough. And then I was like, and then you add somebody who's like intentionally prodding at the paranormal on a regular basis. And I'm like, I actually don't think I would enjoy sleeping in a backpack cabin by myself without a dog or another person with me anymore. Like, I think I'm over romanticizing that stage of life. So
are you saying thank you for this episode because it helped you realize you were over romanticizing that?
Yeah, because I think looking up the scary things I think the scary things I was looking up on YouTube for this episode kicked my algorithm in and was like, oh, this girl's also had some scary stuff happen.
Gotcha. Fair.
And I was like, oh, okay. The world is horrifying.
It is indeed.
But we did it.
Hey, we did it. Well, we hope you all enjoyed our inaugural.
It's a hard word. It's a hard word.
There's not even alcohol in mine. I can't speak. YouTube episode. And I hope you enjoyed seeing our mugs. And
we have faces. We're real people. Most of the time. I
cannot believe that we are in season 6 and that this has been going on as long as it has and that you all have stuck here with us and not only stuck here with us, but like helped us build the coolest freaking community. Like we made some of the best friends ever through this whole little passion project. And I'm just so excited to be kicking off this next season. And I'm excited for the new format where it'll be once a month. So it's like, we don't have a long pause anymore. It'll just be us with you every single month. And it never has to end.
It never will. Just when you think.
Do a creepy smile.
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, we're going to have to think of you can just screenshot the thumbnail of me doing the creepy mimic smile.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
And that can be the YouTube clickbait.
And me being like, oh,
you being like,
that's doing that on purpose.
Disgusting.
So anyway, what's our per witch and slip for this episode?
Oh, great question. Okay. I mean, our per witch and slip, I think this one's really easy. You just fucking trust yourself. Trust your gut.
Trust your intuition.
If your intuition flags even a little bit that something is off, whether it's as extreme as like seeing a version of yourself in the mirror that doesn't leave when you walk away from it, or just like having a weird interaction with somebody you don't know, like trust your instincts, say no.
Yeah.
You get to create your own boundaries and you get to hold them.
If it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a mimic.
If it has the legs of a flamingo.
Right.
And the
There's
body
something a
of
little
a duck.
off about that duck.
Just
Don't go
something
near
a
it.
little weird. He's like chirping instead of quacking, you know.
Right. But you know what we can do now with this like YouTube version is we can be like, cheers.
Cheers, witches. Cheersy
Love you
cheers.
all.
Thank you for being here. We love you. Be sure to join us. Also, because I'm annoying. Hi, we're doing heart hands for our podcast listeners who can't
We're
see us.
showing that we're part of the Swifties.
The correct version of
Swiftie,
heart
yeah.
hands, by the
Yeah,
way,
how do
where
you do that?
it's
Like,
fucking gross. Look at that.
wait, how do you do it?
Ew. It's disgusting. It's this. This looks like a mimic would do it. If a mimic is doing Gen Z heart fingers, sorry, you guys. I love you, and I think you're gonna save the world.
But I don't like your heart fingers.
I think you're gonna save the world literally, but your heart fingers are fucking gross, and you guys are lying to yourselves if you think it's cuter than this, because it is not.
Like, this makes you feel like I have arthritis.
It's like, ew, you're using it's gross. It's awful.
Anyway, side tangent.
I love you.
We're trying to wrap up this episode. We keep getting distracted. We haven't been in podcast land for like 6 months, and this is what happens.
That's also what happens when you like are looking at yourselves now too.
Right.
We're like actively engaging. But we love you. Please be sure to follow the Instagram, all the things at Ouija boards and midnight margs. Literally the whole thing all spelled out. It's really long but easy to remember.
Yeah.
Come find us. We have our book coven is still going on. Book coven lives all year round, just the same way this podcast is going to. Our monthly working challenge group chat is alive and well. If you want to be part of these creepy conversations on a regular basis, mostly it's all of us just like sharing altar pictures and doing memes. Cute magic together and memes. It's really not as gross as this episode has been.
No.
But we would love to have you there. So be sure to come find us, all the places, follow us all the places. Please share this episode, share the video version if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I just would love to stop working for anybody. So if you
help us become full-time YouTube podcaster people.
Yes. And please visit, as we said earlier, this episode is sponsored by Thinning of the Veil Apothecary.
Tova for short, because it's a mouthful.
Tova, yes. Follow us on Instagram. Check out the show notes. All the links you ever need are in there. Plus, I'm taking
consultations. So if you want to dip your toe into the herbal world, I got you.
Yes. Consultations from Shale. If you want to buy us a coffee, subscribe on Spotify. Leave us a review. That makes a huge difference.
And when you leave us a review, what happens?
You get a free 3-card tarot reading from me.
You do.
Can be whatever deck you want. It could be Britney Spears. It could be aliens.
Buffy.
It could be Buffy. It could be our tried and true tattoo tarot. You got options now, more than you've ever had before. So we're grateful. If you'd
left a review and want to leave another one, you can do that too.
That would actually be awesome, especially on Apple. It really helps.
I haven't gotten a lot of new reviews in a while. So if y'all could do that, obviously 5 stars.
Yeah, if you're going to review less than that, if you hate us, it's fine. We probably already know. It's okay. You get to feel that way. I understand it. Yeah. But please don't put it on the internet.
Yeah. Help a sister out, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, cheers, witches.
Cheers, witches.
Episode 2. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Ouija Boards and Midnight Margs. If you had a witch and good time, we hope that you will help us to grow this little internet coven. Please subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review so you can let us know what you're drinking tonight. As a thank you for helping us to get in good graces with the algorithm gods and helping us get seen in our community to grow, we give all who write a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify a 1-card mini reading. Want more mischief from your hosts? Follow Ouija Boards and Midnight Margs on Instagram and TikTok. We are also now streaming Season 6 on YouTube, where you can watch the podcast via video. We thank you for sharing your magic with us. Cheers, witches.